Give me a 1, 2, 3 of what the right thing is to do.
Well, an immediate thing not to do is to continue and enhance the Fiscal Control Board as a credit collection agency for the hedge funds. There is every possibility that they're going to restructure that PROMESA legislation to accelerate the public-private partnership component as a way of rushing capital investment into the infrastructure of Puerto Rico because of the hurricane. That would be a short-term solution. It would look good. You could get your sound bites and your press out of it. But in the long term, it would basically shut Puerto Ricans out of their relationship to their island. They would just be visitors. They would be in a servile capacity. They'll be serving Mai Tais to these investors when they come in onto the island. What can be done is, one, relieve the Jones Act, because that is what is stripping Puerto Rico of having its own inherent economy.
This is the Shipping Act that we talked about before.
The Shipping Act that enforces 20% price hikes on everything that Puerto Ricans consume.
All right, so do away with the Jones Act.
Do away with the Jones Act. Change the corporate investment structure so that you don't get 20-year tax abatement deals from interest, dividend, and capital gains income, where corporations pay no taxes, but then don't invest even a small stipulated proportion of their profits into Puerto Rican infrastructure. So create these community-based agreements with corporations where they have to invest at least a small portion of their profits into Puerto Rican infrastructure.
And this would take new legislation.
Yes.
Okay.
And they could structure that into the PROMESA legislation. And the third, a long-term approach, but it's very doable. Puerto Rican is very clearly, there's a lot of wind in Puerto Rico, right? There's wind, water, and air, all three of which could apply abundant alternative energy sources. That's something that could be developed in Puerto Rico, and finally, Puerto Rico could become a transnational shipping hub because of its geopolitical positioning in the Caribbean. It's a major landmass near, basically in the middle of many shipping lanes. And finally, to reinvest in Puerto Rican agriculture. Agriculture used to be 70% of Puerto Rico's economy. It's now less than 1%. And you have all that great fertile land. So there's all of these things they're there, but they require a political will, but none of those provide any immediate incentive to Wall Street investors. And that's why the dynamics have always been fairly one-sided. So we have to shift the focus and start looking at solutions that allow Puerto Rico to develop so that the U.S. taxpayer doesn't have to keep making these payments.